Here, I know
Thank
that
you
yourself will not be at the White House this afternoon. The
Correct.
CEO of AWS will be. But can you just speak broadly about the relationship that Amazon has with this administration, with the White House on efforts like this and others?
Yeah, this is an important policy issue, so we're really excited for the administration to take a lead on this and happy to be participating in the conversation and the partnership today. This is one of many policy issues that we're focused on at the company, and we're going to continue to work with this administration, all members of Congress, just as we have with previous administrations.
Well, and of course, this administration in particular has touted frequently how much investment it sees itself drawing into the United States and that it wants to encourage via its policies. And you are making some news on that today, and we're bringing this to you for the first time here on Bloomberg TV and radio. Amazon last year, 2025, invested a record $340 billion in U.S. infrastructure in jobs. How much of that is directly due to the policies of this administration?
Well, let me back up. So $340 billion in 2025, which is a 20% increase from our 2024 investment. But if you go back to 2010, we've invested $1.8 trillion in the United States in infrastructure, employee compensation. And so this is part of what we do as a company, as we're always trying to deliver for our customers and also create those innovations and those efficiencies for our customers.
Well, and talk to us about where this money is really targeting and if we should expect it to be driven into the same kind of sectors and areas moving forward in 2026 and beyond.
The investment will be not only in data centers, cloud infrastructure, AI, but also in our fulfillment network. And one of the parts about this, and I think a fun fact, is in the last 5 years, 2 out of 5 jobs that we've created have been in communities of less than 50,000 people. So it really speaks to our expansion, our rural delivery network also, which is a $4 billion expansion that we'll be doing by the end of this year.
Well, so when you talk about job creation, I am curious about this aspect of it, knowing that, and I'm sure this isn't news to you, in the last few weeks, we have seen quite a bit of a frenzy around the idea that AI is going to come and displace a lot of people. It's going to get rid of a lot of jobs, even white collar ones. How are you thinking about whether this is net creating new opportunities versus displacing or moving jobs around from things that can be automated and turned to AI into other areas?
I think we're in a unique position because Amazon's not only an innovator of AI, we're also a deployer and a utilizer of AI. So you can use it in all different sectors of our businesses, whether it be around employee safety. But I'll go back to that delivery network. So one of the tools that we can use in AI is ensuring that we can deliver for our customers, understanding what the demands are in different parts of the country, working on how we can deliver that package more reliable and consistent and faster speeds for our customers.
Well, and so when we consider the jobs that are being added and the people who are coming to Amazon perhaps from other places, I guess to get back to the question of, is this net more jobs in the U.S. economy? Do you see that as being the case? You're adding new positions or instead of just taking someone from, say, another shipper like UPS or something and bringing them over to Amazon?
There are net new positions. So in the last 5 years, we've created 500,000 jobs in the U.S. And so while we're always looking at how we innovate for those customers, we're also, growing in different new business lines too. We have our LEO satellites, drone delivery, again, going back to that innovation. So yes, there'll be net new jobs.
And do you think that pace of job creation is going to be sustainable in the age of AI? I feel like this is the question everyone is contending with.
I don't have a crystal ball, but I can say
none of us
yes.
do, unfortunately.
None of us do. But we've consistently, I'll go back to that 500,000 jobs. And, AI is not new in the last, year or two. So
Sure.
If you kind of look back at the history of the job creation that we've had, we're going to continue to add jobs.
Well, do you think where you will be adding those jobs is going to be changing in this kind of new era as we see it moving exponentially? Because you're absolutely right, this isn't new, but it is moving very quickly, the speed of it.
It is moving very quickly, and we've added a lot of jobs in that AI and that data center infrastructure, but we've also equally added those jobs in our delivery fulfillment center and our corporate offices around the globe.
Well, and when we think about some of those physical jobs that may not be so easily displaced by technology or robots or LLM, that kind of thing, obviously there are concerns about workplace safety. Amazon has repeatedly said it is committing to that. Regulators don't always necessarily agree with the company, though, on that aspect. What do you think is causing that disconnect?
Sure, there's a true disconnect. I think it's also about how we're telling our story, and I think that's important. So in the last 2 years, we've invested $2 billion in our employee safety. Some of that is AI, some of it's robotics, and so we're going to continue to look at those innovations, but the safety of our employees is our number one priority.
So when we think about state laws, for example, that have targeted specifically use of productivity quotas, things of that nature, do you see that there is justification for having that, or is the company able to address that without state and other governments getting involved?
One of the new innovations that we actually have, it's not so new, but been around for a couple years now, employees actually can look on their own personal devices and look at their productivity. So they have control over what's being reported, and we truly believe that relationship between manager, site lead, and our employees is the best.
And finally, we just have a minute left here, Holly. I don't want to put you in a bad position, but we are obviously having this conversation in the context of what is now a hot war in the Middle East. We have seen AWS and data centers be either targeted or collateral damage, essentially, in this conflict. How are you thinking about the potential longer-term implications, both for physical infrastructure, but also perhaps economically?
I think first, obviously the safety of our employees in the Middle East is our priority and will continue to be our priority. And, ensuring that we can serve our customers also is going to be important. So we're going to continue to monitor and hope to, partner with this administration on how we can do that.